Okay. Okay. Hi, this is Jeff at My Recovery System, and I've also got Bill on the line. He's with our sales department, and we're going to go ahead and get started. First thing, once we get done with this webinar, sometime today, we'll go ahead and post the webinar on the site for future review. We do have a few other webinars already in there. Most of them are, they cover about the same thing, setting up your company and cases and such. The other ones won't get into setting up a field agent and allowing a field agent to log in and to utilize the mobile app. So keep that in mind. That one's only going to be on this webinar here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with kind of the basics, making sure you have your coverage areas set up, your location set up, entities, things like that. And normally what happens is when you log into the system, you're going to go ahead and see who you're logged in as up here on the top corner. You have your personal settings right here, and then this is the MRS support. This is also under MRS support where you're going to find those training videos. Here we have the some webinars right here. We also have a couple training videos themselves, and we even show you a little bit about how the client side works so that you understand the whole process from start to finish. So let me just start up here right under settings, and the first thing you see is number 1. The most important ones in here, of course, are 1 through 6. Let's go ahead and click on number 1. And this is where you can set up some of your information, your starting case number if you want to change that, if you want to make your passwords expire, or other password settings. If you want to hide Social Security numbers or parts of Social Security numbers from being printed out or in the system, you may want to do that if you're printing assignments and you don't want your field agents to have that information. You can also add addresses here. So if you have additional addresses other than your primary address, you can add those here. Storage locations, whatever it might be. These are going to be your storage locations too. So if a client has a storage location that they want you to use, you should probably have them add it. If they have any questions, just direct them to us and we'll help them with that. Because I know with TitleMax, that was one of the situations we ran into, that they were having you guys add storage locations for themselves, and that's not the right way to do it. They want to add them under their profile, and then you can select it. If you're doing any business with different LPR companies, you can also share your data with those integrated companies within MRS. Currently, we have 2. We're going to be working on a 3rd. The 2 we are currently integrated with is Plate Locate and PRA Location Services. If you need help setting this up, just give us a call and we'll assist you in doing that. The next thing is setting up case types. Most of you probably have this set up already. If you don't, make sure you check this. If you haven't been in here, make sure you go in here and add the common items. You probably don't need key code request or different things, but mostly involuntaries, voluntaries, things like that. The next item down is coverage areas and zones. So this is by far the most important area of your system for getting it set up. You want to make sure that you have your coverage area set up correctly, because if you don't, the lenders won't be able to find you when they go to place an assignment. Our system is 100% address-based, meaning that if they're going to add an assignment, we look for your geo coordinates of a coverage area that you might have added. In this case, under this demo company that I'm in, I've got 2 coverage areas that I've drawn, San Diego Metro and LA Metro areas. I can just kind of pop in here and I can see edit by map. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. And you can see the coverage area that I drew. Now I can edit this. This is one I've already have created. I can just click on it and I can drag it around and edit it if I want, but I'm not going to do that right now. If I just wanted to create a brand new coverage area, you can just come in here, click this. It already shows you your existing coverage area, and you want to either circle, do a radius of a city. Like say you were going to cover El Centro, you could click circle and then click on the map and then start drawing it out, and it'll show you a little circle. Really the best way to do it though is to draw a coverage area. So I'm just going to draw one. I'm going to name it El Centro, and I'm going to come in here and zoom in a little bit, and I'm going to start right on the edge over here someplace because I need to get back to this same point once I'm all done. And so let me just start right here along the border. Oops, I forgot to click that. Let me undo this here again. Give me a second. I need to click the draw area. Looks like I'm having an issue drawing my coverage area here. Give me 1 second while I try to figure out what's going on here. Oh, well, I guess I can't draw the coverage area right here because it keeps wanting to select a county. So one thing that we also have in here, I'm going to show you real quick here, is you can add a coverage area by county simply by selecting borders like this, and it'll show you the borders of the county. But in this case, we really recommend that you just simply draw your coverage area. I'm going to go ahead and just close this out for a second and refresh this, just because I'm in a demo company, and sometimes users get into our demo company and kind of play around, and it's not always 100% accurate. So let me go ahead and just try this again. There we go. So this is what I'm looking for right here, this little X on my map. If you can see that little X, and I can just click right there. As soon as I start clicking, it's going to go ahead and start drawing a line. Now I want to come right to the end of where I'm at, and I'm going to come over here right along the border of the US. And you can adjust this after you've started creating this. I'm going to come back up again, and I'm going to go around here, and I'm going to reconnect it right there. So we have this whole area. This is now a coverage area. I'm going to name this coverage area El Centro, and I'm going to come down here and I can save it. One thing that's really important here is when you draw an area on the map, you only want to draw one area per coverage area. So if I need to draw another area over here, I want to save this and then go in and create another coverage area. So that's really, really important. You don't want more than one coverage area on a map, and you also for sure don't want to overlap a coverage area, because that will mess up the geo-coordinating when we go to when a client goes to add an assignment with an address on it. So let's go ahead and save this coverage area here real quick, and now you can see it. So if you look on the map right here, this is your overall coverage area of your whole company, and you can see it right there. And yeah, so that's how you set up the coverage area. The other thing is once you have the coverage area set up for your company, this is the part that is important for your field agents. So if you want assignments to automatically go to your field agents and automatically go to the mobile apps that we have a mobile app for Android, one for iOS, and one for Windows, a Windows laptop. You can do that right here, and then you set up your zone. So I'm going to show you while we're in here. I'm just going to show you really quick how to set up that zone area. And you can come in here, and right now I have 3 zones set up. I have East County, LA zone, and San Diego Metro zone. So let's just zoom in here. You can see the zones. And say I wanted to set up another zone, because I just created a coverage area out in El Centro, but I want to set up an additional zone for that additional coverage area. And you can break it up as much as you want. We recommend having wherever your drivers are working, wherever your guys are working out in the field, if you have one guy on one part of the city and another guy in another part of the city, create multiple zones. That way the assignments go into the correct locations, and it's very easy to flip assignments around to each one of your guys. But let's go ahead and let's say El Centro zone. And I'm going to draw it again, and I'm just going to kind of do the same thing what I did here with this coverage area. Keep in mind this is very, very accurate. You wouldn't normally want to, go out, have the zoom level that I'm zoomed out at. You'd want to be probably zoomed in further, just because you want to be able to make sure that you cover the exact streets and stuff that you want to be on. So in this case, if I wanted to have a zone on this side of I-8, I could go ahead and just draw right along this line right here on Interstate 8, and I could keep this whole area as a coverage area. The system won't assign any addresses to this area that are on this area. It works very well. So that's how you do that. I'm going to go ahead and just save this. One thing too before I save it, this right here, this include, if I clicked on this, it would turn red and say exclude. That would mean that you're going to exclude that area. So you really don't want to use that unless you're going to use it for, say, a military base or maybe an Indian reservation where you don't want your company receiving assignments in. Go ahead and save this. And now we have 4 zones. So if you come in here, I can see all 4 of my zones. This one I actually have 2 zones in this area right here. So if I zoom in right here, I can see I got a zone right here, and I got a zone for this section right here. So now that you have your coverage areas and your zones set up, let's go back under settings, and then let's go to company employees. This is where you can add your field agents. You can come in here, and if you needed to add a new person, you just simply click new employee, type in their first name, last name. The username has to be a unique username. Sometimes it might throw an error if that username's already taken. Email address, password. Password's important. It's going to require all of these items over here. So if you don't type in enough items, maybe you didn't have 8 characters, this would still be red right here, and you'd want to fix that. The other important thing in here is what type of user is that going to be. And usually you're going to have either an administrator, caseworker, or a field agent. The field agent is a required if they're going to use the mobile app. So if you don't assign somebody as a field agent, they won't be able to log into the mobile app. It'll restrict them. So if you just have them as an administrator or caseworker. Now you can be both if you want, or you can be this one and that one if you need to. But yeah, you definitely want to select this one if they're going to be that type of person. The other important piece is what location they belong to with your company. You want to always make sure you select that. Active status, time zone, this will keep all of the data that the user enters and views in the correct time zone that he's in. Requires TFA is 2-factor authentication. You probably aren't going to need this. This is if you want one additional layer of security for your account. You can receive a 6-digit code either by email, or you can use Google Authenticator and receive that on your mobile device. And single sign-on is something that we've integrated with some lenders, so most likely you won't be using that. I'm not going to save this at all. I'm going to go ahead and close it, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to view one of these employees because I did set up some zones, and maybe I want to add that employee to a zone. So I'm going to come in here, and right now I can see this employee is a field agent. This is how you add a new zone, but I can also see he's got 1 zone assigned to him and 2 addresses within that zone. So if you see right here, he's got an address here and he's got an address right over here. He's under the East County zone, And right now there's 3 auto-assigned addresses in there, 0 assigned addresses to him. This is a drawn coverage area. And I'm going to go ahead and just add another zone in here because I know I have some addresses in the other San Diego zone. So I'm going to go San Diego Metro. System's going to automatically tell me that there's 22 valid addresses within 18 cases that it's going to assign to the field agent. We're going to give them all of the cases. It looks like they're all just involuntaries. And I'm going to say assign. And now if you look, you can see that he's now got 2 zones, and it assigned him 22 addresses. So now if that user logs into the system, he's going to see all of those addresses. And I'm just going to show you real quick, and we'll get into the mobile app a little bit more, but this is the mobile app right here, and this is him before I have all of that data added to that user. And after I go ahead and just refresh the data to that user, and you can see the additional addresses that got added to that user's profile right here. So he's under the mobile app, and now he sees all of his addresses. So as he does his work and the addresses close or whatever happens to them, they're going to automatically be, added or removed as he's doing different things. But we'll go in the mobile app in a little bit. All right, let me see here real quick. So I'm going to go into settings again and service items. So service items, this is what you want to set up if you're going to invoice out of our system. A lot of you probably are on the call because of TitleMax. TitleMax right now hasn't mandated the invoices out of MRS, but you're welcome to do them in MRS. It's very easy to do. The only thing is you're going to have to set up this area right here, settings, and then service items right here. So to add a new service item, I'll kind of explain to you how it works. Right now we have 4 or 5 in here. You go ahead and name it, and I'm just going to say SD, let's see, Invol SD Metro. You can call it whatever you want, but keep in mind our reporting is going to reflect this name right here that you call it. Now we got to associate that name with a default item. So if I go in here, I have an involuntary fee because that's what this is an involuntary. I'm not going to put a cost in there because I'm going to cost it. I'm going to put the fees once we recover it. It may be different for different lenders. If you're only doing work for, say, TitleMax on here and you have a flat fee for TitleMax, you can put in that fee and that will populate automatically when you go to invoice it out. If you happen to be in one of the tax states, sales tax states, you can create new sales tax items and you can add those sales tax rates to your company profile to reflect the right amount for sales tax you should be collecting. And departments, if you've set up departments, this is usually for pro companies of the system. But I'm going to go ahead and cancel this. I'm not going to save this, but you can see I have a bunch of different items in here. And then we have sales tax rates right here. Of course, I don't have any, but so this is the first piece to creating an invoice in the system. So let's go back over to settings. If you have a company logo you would like to put out on the system, you're more than welcome to do so. You can do that right there under settings, company logos. The next item is if I pop back over here to home page, you can see where you can buy license plate data. Now, we can sell you license plate data. You enter a VIN, we'll give you the plate and the state, and in some cases, about 25 states, I think we can get the registered owner's address. We can get the lien holder in some states, Iowa, Florida, New Jersey. So if you want to test that out, you're welcome to. The only requirement for this is that you have a credit card on file. And you can put a credit card on file simply by clicking on accounting and then clicking on MRS invoices, and you can add a credit card. Now, we're not going to bill anything on your credit card unless you make any purchases, but if you want to buy license plates and you buy 50 for the month, we'll bill you at the end of the month on whatever active credit card you have. If you want to track those purchases, you can do so right here. and I'm just going to click on one of these. This is one that was ran the other day. You can see it was ran. This is the VIN number. It's a Ford GT, license plate South Dakota, expires 6/30 of 2018. I'm just going to see if we see any other states. This happens to be a Florida one, and you can see that we did return a physical address for that Florida one. We sell the license plate data for only 50 cents, so if you're buying them from one of the other systems out there, we most likely are about half of that cost. So you're welcome to buy it. Let's go back under settings real quick here. Case tags. This is something you can add to a case to keep track of that case on a specific My Reports, a custom report that you might want to build. You can add OK to release, whatever you want. Just click here, the little plus sign. Do not release, whatever you want to put on there for the case tag. Once you create them in this area right here, they'll be available for the case, and I'll show you how to do that once we get into the case. Let's mouse over settings again, and let's go in here to set up notifications. So this is where you can set up the different types of notifications. If you want to be notified via email or via the website, you know, for new accounts, hold accounts, whatever they might be, this is where you want to set those notifications up. You can set it up for email. You can set it up for receiving a notification via this horn up here, or you can also set up a notification to SMS you on a mobile device. So, but you want to for sure make sure that you have case closed by office, new case added by client, case closed by client. Let's see, client, let me see if I see any. Client replied to service provider's request. This might be an important one you might want to add to your profile, but the important ones are the ones that are client reopen case, client set case to close, client set case to hold. If you don't have these turned on, well, you won't get notified unless you log into the system. So in this case, this employee's got you know, one set up for SMS. This one doesn't have anything set up, and this employee's got everything set up. If you're the administrator of the system, highly recommend you always on for this one right here so you get notified. And so you can set up all of these notifications individually for each one of your users. So if you got a bunch of emails coming in and you don't want to keep receiving them, just come in here and you can turn them off. So let's go back over settings, make sure I covered everything in here. And if I'm going kind of fast, keep in mind that I'm going to post this presentation under here and under support again at the end of sometime today, so that you can come back in here and review it if you need to. So this is your company setup. You know, we've got everything set up now. We think we've got it set up correctly. The next important step when you're before you start marking accounts repossessed is you want to make sure that you have your auctions in the system, your police departments in the system. So let's just click on police. Pretty easy to put them in here. You can type in, let's just say you type in Tucson. System's going to go and look for any police departments that matched either the city or the name or even the address. So you can come in here and just type in your city. You can type in the zip code of the police station, whatever you want, and they'll be in here. If by chance they're not in here, you can just type in and nothing shows up or they don't match under your list, and you can click right here and add the police department yourself, and they'll be in your system then at that point. So it's pretty simple to add them. Just click right here where it says add, and then they go right into there. It's the same thing for the auctions, transport companies, if you want to put them in there. Associations are controlled by their own association, Allied Finance Adjusters, which is a close partner to MRS. And then you have vendors down there. So vendors could be software companies, could be ClearPlan. In this particular case, I'm going to show you how to, if you're using the ClearPlan program, You can add ClearPlan. We don't charge you anything for the integration to ClearPlan. There's no activation fee. There's no monthly fee. It's completely free. And all of your accounts that you accept within your MRS account will go automatically to ClearPlan. So it's pretty cool. You just simply do the same thing. You search for ClearPlan. You click the little add, and then that's going to take you to this page right here. We'll wait till it populates. Once you get into this page right here, you're going to want to click this green button that says Activate ClearPlan. Usually during business hours, within a couple hours of you activating your ClearPlan, they'll go ahead and turn it on, and I believe they'll probably send you a notification, but you'll see if you pop back in here a couple hours later that this will be active. Once this is active, then you want to come over here and you want to click this green button right here that says sync all of your addresses. So what this is going to do is any accounts or any addresses you have in MRS are going to sync, and then any new addresses or new cases that you receive will automatically go to ClearPlan. You don't have to do anything. They'll automatically go till you deactivate ClearPlan. So this is pretty cool. If you need instructions on setting this up, just go ahead and email us and we can help you out with that, but it's pretty simple. The next thing, let's make sure we covered everything under entities. If you have, maybe you have a local client, maybe a credit union, a car lot, whatever it might be, and you want them to access your MRS also, you can come in here and you can actually create a new client in here if they're not already in the system. And you can add them, search for them, or you can just simply create one if they're not already in there, kind of like we did with the police departments. And then they can register in the system for free, just like you registered, and they can send you assignments, and it's not going to cost you anything. It's better than having to pay $1, $2 for some of the other systems for that. So completely free to any local clients that you might have. All right, so we're probably done with that piece of it. Let me go ahead and go into. Are we okay, Bill? Any questions yet?
Actually, Jeff, I'm not seeing the question section, so I don't know if there are or not.
Yep, I don't see. I don't see any questions in there, but there is. It looks like it's okay. So, but if you have any questions, just go ahead and I'm just going to scroll through, make sure nobody's got their hand raised here. Oh, looks like we got somebody. Let me see if I can unmute them. Michael, did you have a question? You may have to. Are you there, Michael?
No.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to raise your hand. Can you see the hands up, Bill?
No.
And
I think it's because I'm just marked as a panelist.
Okay. I changed you to an organizer, so maybe you can see that now.
Yeah, there we go. I got it now.
Okay. But if you have any questions, you can type them up or just raise your hand, and I'll try to get to them if I notice them in there. So let's go ahead and go with the grabbing of a new account and holds and closes. So let's go ahead. We got a new account right here. And one thing you want to really watch for in our system, while we try to keep these numbers right here where it says 1 or 0 or whatever it might be, we try to keep these where the numbers stay accurate. Once in a while, we do know that the count may not be correct. It doesn't happen very often, but keep in mind or keep an eye on this. If you see this at 0, maybe you got an email that said you had a close, or an email saying you had a new account, but this says 0. There may be a slight delay in the system that would cause that, so just click on it and you should see it in here. But We are working on it. We know it's a known issue, and hopefully you won't experience that. But if you get an email that says you have something new or something closed, just click on them, even though they might say 0. Let's go ahead and just click on this new account. I can see this account in here. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. Well, it won't let me accept it because I have a pending close. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this close right here. And because this is the same client, I can't accept an account from this client. We're not going to lock you out of the whole system, but if say TitleMax sends a close to you and you don't accept it, you'll have to accept that one before you can grab your new one. But say Wells Fargo sent you an account, you know, we're not going to be too concerned with that as long as you don't have any closes in there for that bank. So let's go ahead and accept this close right here. And now we've accepted it, and we can come in here and click back on new. Now I can pull up the account, and I see I can accept it, I can decline it, and I can make a request. So the make a request is maybe in El Cajon you are going to charge a little bit extra for that area. Maybe this is an impound and you need specific paperwork before you accept it. You know, whatever, if you have a question for the lender before you want to accept it or decline it, you can do that right here. They'll respond back, and you'll see that message over here right underneath. You'll also see messages up here on the top. Right now there's 0 up there because you don't have any. So the other thing is before you accept any new accounts, what you can also do, because right now I have on my dashboard for my case page, I have a bunch of these different modules on here, and you guys can do the same thing. You can add modules under your case page, clicking on this little pencil right here where it says dashboard, and then you can add, you know, these different sections of the case system to your dashboard that you'll see it every single time you log into the account. Something that might be important, maybe you want to have the updates, you know, as the first item that you see all the time, and then you want to have the debtor right there, whatever it might be, just drag them around. You can hit save, and now you can see I have my update section, the first one. So you can customize that all you want. All of those little modules right here are also in these little tabs, so it's the same thing. You can get to them through all these different tabs right here. Let's go ahead and accept this account. I'm going to select, I'm logged in as demo employee, so I'm going to be the case worker, so it's going to say my cases under this. Right now you can only add, at this time you accept one at a time. We're going to change this so you can add multiple case workers at the same time. It's just not in the system yet. Let's go ahead and accept this, and my cases are going to go up to 66 now, and now I've accepted the account. First thing you probably do is maybe you print the assignment sheet. This little printer will let you do that. Click right here, MRS repossession assignment sheet, and you can see it right here. Okay. If you needed to do some quick actions on this, you can add an update. If you needed to add an address, create a condition report, create an invoice, purchase license plate data, mark the debtor as violent, it's a California deal, and you can set up case alerts. You can mark a repossessed, hold, close. You can do all just a bunch of shortcuts right under that gear, so it's pretty important. But pretty much everything you can do here, you can also do under these tabs. So in this case, if I wanted to add an update, I could do it either by my shortcut I created, or I could do it right here by going into the updates module and typing up an update. I'm going to say this is for this particular address. This is a test update. Dog in yard. I'm going to let the client see it, and I'm going to set it as public. You can do it as private, and that will hide that update from the client. It'll only be people from your company that will see that update. So I've got this update in here now. The other cool thing is what if I wasn't in this case right now and I needed to pull this case up? Well, this is how you would do it. You could do a search by the VIN. You could do a search by the debtor's name. In this case, I even typed in the word dog. So if you couldn't remember, maybe you wanted to find this account that you can't remember what account it was, but you knew you typed in dog in yard, you could type in dog right here, and you can see that this is a test update, dog in yard. So this is going to go and search pretty much everything throughout that case: plate, VIN, debtor, vehicle make. It's even going to search for employees and addresses if you have you know, address on a particular street or whatever it might be. Let's go back into this account real quick. And actually, let me just stop here for a second, and I'm going to pop back over to the mobile app just because I've accepted this account, and I can see that because I set up that zone for my field agent, I also see that the system automatically assigned a field agent to this account. So I didn't have to do anything. This is assigned to track field agent. Here's the address it's assigned to, and if I pop back over here to the mobile app, and I'm just gonna, because I'm on a desktop right here, and I don't have everything 100% ready for this. I don't have a GPS antenna and everything, so I'm gonna go ahead and just refresh my data on here, and you can see that I now have, this is probably the address that oh, this is not the one I'm looking for. This is it right here. So this is the address that we just accepted. It's already on the map. Had your driver been driving around, this would have automatically populated on the map. This icon is customizable under the user settings. If I go back over here, and whatever user that is that I'm logged in under, I can go into here and I can go to settings. I'm just going to open up a new window, and then I'm actually not logged in as a field agent, but you would see app settings, mobile app settings right here below the notification, and you can configure all of your icons however you want. So in this case, I have this new address right here, and if I had a GPS antenna and I was driving along the road and this user had this thing downloaded, it would automatically follow along with me and auto-update this account automatically. I don't have to do anything for that. And as soon as I go past this address, it's going to automatically pull up this little window right here. So you can see the information, and you would also see the update that it automatically added. So in this case, this is a test update, is in there right there already. So let me go ahead and close this out. And if I'm going to zoom out a little bit, I can just show you kind of the difference here. So you can see right here, this is a work address. This was configured for this particular field agent. He configured this to be work. If I click on it, that's what that is. That's a work. And let me go back over here. You can see that additional work address. And these are all just customizable icons. You can do whatever you want with them. If you needed to upload pictures, you could do so. If you needed to pull this account up in the browser, you could do so right here. You could also have a bunch of different functions right under the action screen right in here. Add photos, condition report, recoveries. Some of these will take you directly to the through your browser. If you need to invalidate the address, you can do that right there, or say the address is no longer any good. But it's pretty simple, pretty easy to use. We have a mobile app for Windows, iOS, and Android. We recommend that you use it on a tablet type device or a laptop, but it will work on a like say a mobile phone while the screen's kind of small. All right, so let's pop back over here to the case. So we now have the agent has the account. Maybe the account's now been repossessed. You've added an update. Let's just go ahead and say mark this thing as repoed, and I'm going to go repossessed. It's going to ask you for a bunch of information. Was there damage? Do you have keys? Mileage? Is the unit drivable? Do you have the color of the car? If there's already a condition report created in the system, you can attach that condition report to this recovery. If there's not, you don't have to. You can create that after you get done. Is there personals found in the vehicle? We're going to say yes. Time and date. I'm just going to hit now just for convenience, but you can go in there and select whatever time and date it really was. It happens to be over a weekend or last night or whatever it might be. Where was it recovered at? It's going to list out all of the addresses on the case. If that address that you picked it up at isn't in this list, you just go ahead and click New, and the system will let you add that address into the system, and it'll add it onto the case as a permanent record. Who recovered it? You can select which one of your agents. By default, you should see whoever is assigned to it if you use that feature. The police department that you called in, and the badge number who you notified at the police. If you have it stored on your lot, you can enter the storage location. You can enter a spot on your lot, you know, if you have spots all numbered out, whatever it might be, and it's stored. If you happen to deliver it straight to the client or to the auction, you can even do that right here. Inventory completed by, you can put that in there. It's not required. Sometimes it's nice for future reference. If you have a witness for that, some states, you know, require that. The lot space number, the number of containers, maybe it's in space number 52. There's 2 containers or 2 bags. You can type that in there if you want. And then you can start adding items into the personal. So you can type whatever you want, but if you already typed it prior, we're going to keep track of that for you. Actually, probably luggage is not in there. Put luggage, and let's put a gun in there, and we can do some clothes right here. So once you got everything set up in here, you can go ahead and hit Save Changes. The nice thing about the personals is you can even, if you have something fall out of a bag, you can even go back into our system and search for personal items, you know, if you have something that you may need to try to figure out where it belongs to. So now we've got the account marked repossessed. That's going to automatically throw the account on the lender side into a acknowledge recovery status. They'll have to acknowledge it from you. And now the next step would be you can come in there and create a condition report. So let's just go back over to my dashboard, and I know I added the condition report area here. I can come in there and create a condition report. And I can select the body right here is good. You know, a lot of this is, you know, no different than some of the condition reports that you probably create right now. Go in there and you can select the different options for your vehicle. If you really want to get detailed, you can even use more options, and it has a bunch more options in there. If you have some specific notes you want to put in there about the condition of the vehicle, you can do so there. And then you have a picture of the vehicle down here. So here you can use the stock photos, but what we really recommend is that you actually use the photos of the vehicle itself. All right, give me 1 second here. I'm just going to pop in on the other side. I'm going to see if I've got any photos on there. I can pop in there real quick. Okay. There we go. And so now you can have a real picture of the vehicle on your condition report. So, and then if you want to have the damage of where the damage is at on the vehicle, you can put it in right there. Red's going to be kind of hard to see, so you can change it to whatever color, you know, makes it more convenient or easier to see. Maybe you've got a large dent back here, and maybe you've got a cracked windshield. So you can customize this. You can put all the damage on there exactly where you want it. You can do the same thing for the back photo if you want. And then you can click Save Condition Report. This is going to save it onto the system, and that'll allow the lender to see it. So one of the other things that I noticed that some companies are doing is they're uploading documents into the system. Maybe you complete a condition report, manually or whatever it might be, and then they upload it into the system. That's fine. That's going to add it as an attachment. But TitleMax is they're not requesting it or requiring it yet, but they would prefer that you do the condition report right within the system. If you go down here, we'll see this condition report that I created. You can see it right here. And you can pull up a copy of it right here, the MRS standard condition report. And you can see the actual vehicle on there. The other cool thing is if you created one of our condition reports in here, we do have a signature box right here. And if you're using a mobile device in your office and your debtor comes in and redeems this, or the auction comes in and gets it, say you're using an iPad, you can physically, right on the iPad, exactly their signature, and then you can save it as a case attachment. So all of our documents in the system have the ability to have this signature box on it, as long as you have a type of device that will let you write on the screen like that. Okay, so that's the condition report. Probably the next thing is the invoice. Let's go ahead and come up here, so I can either get there through the invoice tab right here, or I can get here right through the create invoice. And I'm going to go ahead and this is my client, this is the date, that's the vehicle, the date the invoice is created, the service item, involuntary repossession. I'm going to go ahead and change that to $350. No tax rates. If you had any notes or whatever you want to put on there, go ahead and click plus over here to add the item. And once you have that item, then you're good and you can hit create invoice. If you had to add any additional items, you could come back in here again. You can hit, maybe you have a storage fee or whatever it might be, a key fee or whatever. You can select that, put it in here, and then click the plus sign again, and you add a second item. So you can keep going as many items as you need. Create invoice. And now you have your invoice created. And you can see the invoice right here if you needed to print it up, if you needed to email it, if you needed to do this, or you can even download it as a PDF. So there you go, and there's your invoice right there. All right, so we have our invoice, we have our everything else we have in here. In this case, let's go ahead and say, remember earlier I was talking about case tags? Well, right here, you can go ahead and add a case tag on here. If I needed to add one of these, do not release, maybe it's a lender you've never done business with before. You can come in here and say do not release, and it's going to go ahead and have that case tag on there. That doesn't stick out very well, so maybe in this particular case where you really got an issue with this account, you could come in here and say set a case alert, do not release, make it an intrusive alert, make it for everybody in your company, that anybody that pulls up this account is going to see it, and hit save. Now, every time you pull up this account, as long as this alert is still on here, it's going to go ahead and have this message show up on this account. So you can do this on any of your accounts. Maybe do not contact debtor, whatever the case may be, you can type in that message right there on it. I'm going to go ahead and close that. You can also see your case alert right here too. Let's go ahead and just dismiss this alert. Okay, that is gone, and let's see. So I think we're good with the case itself. Let me just go through here, just take a peek real quick, and let's see. Let me ask Bill real quick here. Bill, do I need to go through any other stuff on this case area?
Well, do you want to go through the dashboard, how you can customize it and see what you need to see by your job or whatever? Like if you do the updates, et cetera.
Yep. So you're talking about if I come back over here to the home screen.
No, in the case.
Oh, in the case. Okay.
Here too, but also in the case.
And where are you talking about?
The first tab, the dashboard, how you can customize it.
Oh yeah. I went over that at the very beginning of pulling up this case stuff right here.
Oh, my apologies.
Yep. You can just do that right here again if you want to customize your dashboard, because most of you, when you first log into the system, you're going to see your dashboard. It's going to be blank down below these tabs right here, and then you just got to add right here these items, and then you'll see the same thing that I'm seeing. That's why yours might look a little different than mine. So, let's go back to the home screen real quick here, because I'm going to show you the reporting capabilities of MRS. So, and we do this for everybody. Everything that I'm showing you is there is no cost for this stuff except for the license plate data. So you can build reports and do all kinds of cool things. You can go into accounting and see, how much money you're billing out within the system. If you have multiple lenders using it, whatever it might be. But you can come in here, and in this case, I have some reports that I've configured for my dashboard. And like in this case, I have I set a case tag that says OK to release, and if I pull up this account right here, you can see that OK to release is on my dashboard right here. So if you have a car that is repossessed and that is stored, but it has a case tag that is OK to release, all of that can be configured in one nice report. And when you're looking at your dashboard, you know that you still have this car sitting there because the system says it's stored, and that's what this query or report is letting you do. And we'll just show you how to do that real quick. So I came in here and I say My Reports, and I came in here and I went down to Case Tags, and I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to do that same one again, OK to release. In this case, I'm going to, let's see, case status, collateral disposition. We want to say stored. And I may not have any data specifically for this particular one, so just keep in mind this is just all dummy data, and it could be messed up. But so if it's stored and there's a tag on it that says OK to release, I should see at least one case in here. That looks good. And I'm going to go ahead and say save as a new report. OK to release, stored, and I'm going to add it to my dashboard. Now I shouldn't see very many records in there, so I'm going to go ahead and just leave that the way it is. But the cool thing about this is you can go in there and create all kinds of custom reports in the system, and then you don't really have to go run this report, every single day. If say one of your clients calls and the person in the office says, hey, client calls and says you can take this one to the auction or drop this one off wherever, all your users got to do is pull up that account, set the case. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to grab a different case so that I can show you how it works. I'm going to add a case tag to this one. OK to release. And now if I'm one of the guys, I come in and I log into the system. Now you see that you have two accounts that are OK to be released. So you don't have to go and rerun this report. As soon as you log into the system, you're going to automatically see that information. And there's a lot of stuff that you can go into the reports and build all kinds of cool reports, skip report, whatever it is. And if you look right here, this report is the one that I just built. If you notice that account didn't get on this report, and that's because if you pull up this account that just added to this one right here, this account is currently open. It's not even repossessed, so it wouldn't show up in this lower report right here. So that's why it's showing up here, is because the only thing I did for this report was tell it to show OK to release as a case tag. But in this case, I said OK to release, and I also said it has to be stored. So you don't have to go and do anything else with this report. If you created a report saying OK to release and stored, as soon as you release that vehicle and it's no longer stored in the system, it's going to automatically come off this report. So pretty cool. You don't have to go and reconfigure a report or rerun it or whatever. It's all automatic, kind of happening behind the scenes. If you're invoicing out of the system, you can go in here and see all kinds of cool invoice reports in here based on the data that you're invoicing out.
Hey Jeff, Michael has a question. It looks like raised his hand.
Sure. Let me go ahead and unmute him.
Yes, is update a requirement for Title Max for the client?
Yep, we didn't hear your question. Can you repeat the question?
I'm sorry, hold on. Is update a requirement?
Yep. Yeah, you have to update your account in the system for Title Max. They are requiring that all of the updates come through MRS.
Okay. What about pictures?
I haven't heard if pictures are required at this time, but I know they will be, because I deal with corporate and I don't deal with the individual stores myself. But pictures and invoices is something that's coming down the road very, very soon. If I was you, I'd probably just get in the habit of updates, pictures, and invoices within the system. Just okay. Because I know it's coming. It could be next month. They're just getting all of the branches and all of the active cases within the system. Once they have that, then they'll go ahead and do it.
Okay, because she was telling me that we didn't have to do the condition report. I'm used to doing the condition reports though, but
Yep. Yeah. No, you don't. They're not requiring it right now, but I know it's coming from corporate. So yeah, I mean. It's up to you if you want to do it until you get word from them. I would do it just so you're familiar with it and you get your guys up and going. Because from what I've seen with Title Max, on a Friday they may say Monday, we want to start getting all condition reports and pictures and everything in the system, and then you're going to be scrambling to get your people trained to do that.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yep, you're welcome. Does anybody else have any questions? Bill, did I miss anything, or should I? Let me just see if I'm missing anything on here. Do you see anything missing? Bill?
No. I think you got everything, Jeff.
Okay. Does anybody? I'll open up for some questions. If you guys want to raise your hand, if you know how to do that on the GoToWebinar feature, or you can type in your questions too, but we'll go ahead and wait a minute. If you guys have any questions, I'll be happy to answer any of those questions. What you're looking at is the limited side. It's the completely free side of the system. We do have a pro side of the system that lets you actually add your own cases into the system. It does allow for a few extra functionality for the mobile apps where you can have real-time GPS tracking of your drivers, things like that. So if you need to or you want to talk to Bill about the pro side of the system and the benefits that you might get from that, you're welcome to give him a call, or you can email him at bill@myrecoverysystem.com. Any questions, anybody? Very quiet group, it looks like. Oh, we might have a question here. Where does the info for the entities that is in MRS come from? Is it financial institutions? Okay, so the information under entities is information that's being added by really by other users since our system went live. So if you see a client in here, like see I'm just let's see. I'm just going to type in credit union because I'll get a bunch of matches for that. But these are all information that users that are using our system have typed into the system already. So you might have, they might be in there and they might not. If they're not in here, you're welcome to add them into the system. What happens is when you add them in here, we'll go ahead and verify that information, and then we'll make it public so everybody can see. So when you first add them, you're the only ones that are going to see them. Usually within about an hour or so, that entity will be made public. Nobody knows who added them. They just know that they got into the system, and multiple people are using them. The reason we do that is we don't want a police department in there more than one time, the same police or the same client. And that keeps the records in the back end of the system, to a minimum. And let me see. Where can we find the playback for the webinar? That's going to be right up here in this area. So you're going to mouse over your name, and then under MRS support, you click right in here, and you'll see the training videos right in here. And any other questions? Let me see, I think we got one more question here. Nope, I think that's it for the questions. So if nobody else has anything, I guess we're right on the hour. I can end it unless you guys have any other questions. Okay, well, I appreciate everybody showing up today. Go ahead and watch for the webinar if you want the other cool one in here, these other live webinars. You don't have to watch them all, but they're all about the same. This is the one that kind of dealt a lot with the mobile app. So if you have any questions or you need to talk to us, go ahead and give us a call. You can find our information right here under support. You can also send us an email at support@myrecoverysystem.com. Appreciate everybody joining. Thanks.